Federal government shutdown averted. For now, Congress passed a funding bill, narrowly avoiding a shutdown. This after a mini-revolt by some in the Republican Party. For that small group within the GOP, it was all about fighting President Biden's vaccine policies, holding it hostage. For more on this, we turn to our D.C. correspondent, Bofta Yimam. Always seems to be something, right, Bofta? This is a movie we've seen play out before, and I guess we'll likely see again, probably early next year.
And look, Mike, absolutely. And they really just took it right down to the wire. Government operations, though, the good news for folks, it will be funded until February 18th. At that point, though, lawmakers must adopt another short-term measure or finish work on a dozen bills. Those bills would fund the government until September of next year. So we will likely be back in this scene again in probably January. But leading up to today's deadline to avoid the shutdown, a small group within the GOP, including Senator Mike Lee and Roger Marshall, threatened to hold up the funding bill. They insisted on a vote to defund President Biden's vaccine mandate in exchange for allowing the government to remain open. Ultimately, to help make today's deadline, Senate leaders agreed to take a vote on an amendment that would defund vaccine mandates for businesses, federal employees, and military service members. But that effort failed. Still, the political drama that almost led to the government shutdown shows once again to the American public the divisiveness within Congress.
On November 3rd, a group of senators, 15 of us in fact, declared our intentions, sending this letter to Senator Schumer. And in this letter, we made very clear that we, quote, will not support and will use all means at our disposal to oppose legislation that funds or in any way allows the enforcement of President Biden's employer vaccine mandate. I don't want to shut down the government. The only thing I want to shut down is Congress funding enforcement of an immoral, unconstitutional vaccine mandate.
We all have a responsibility to make sure that the government functions. I don't think that the Republicans in the Senate want to shut down government.
Now, the Senate adopted the final stopgap bill on a 69-28 vote. The House passed it mostly along party lines, but really going down to the wire. Mike.
Always around party lines. All right. So what about the debt limit? Because Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, well, she's estimating that the government is actually going to run out of money on December 15th. That's less than 2 weeks away. Another pressing deadline we have right here. So will the GOP support raising that debt limit?
Well, Senator Mitch McConnell has said, Mike, that he will not support that. The GOP has said we're not going to back that effort to raise the debt limit, really putting Democrats in a position where they've got to go through that budget reconciliation process. Two things with that are very important. It can be very lengthy, and at the same time, there's a risk of miscalculation. It really has to be accurate within that budget reconciliation process. But the only other option would be to change the filibuster, and we know that that is a challenge as well. So Democrats have to get on the ball and decide how they're going to proceed, because the GOP has been saying for months now that they are not going to support raising the debt limit. And so you have this issue, because what it will do, and this is for folks at home, what does the debt limit really have to do with what we have going on with Social Security and different paychecks and source of that? Well, it comes down to a possible recession, and Janet Yellen has said this will push our economy potentially into a recession. We were able to avoid that last year. Let's not put ourselves back in that position again, especially when we have other issues. Omicron, right? That's here. We have the job progress that's been happening, about 531,000 jobs added in the past month, Yellen pointed out. Let's not derail all of that with going into a recession, and this is the way. She's put out this warning. The GOP, again, will not support it, so it will be up to Democrats to get this done. Mike.
Yeah, we know that R word is bad for this country right now, and I'm not talking about Republicans. I'm talking about recessions.